Hello. I have been thinking over a really interesting comment I got on my Hamlet video from Jason over at Old Blues Chapter and Verse. And it was him saying like, oh, you kind of, I talk about Hamlet as being quite young in the play. Like my reading of the Hamlet, or my feel of the Hamlet in the play, at least this reading of it, was that he was quite a young guy, that he was kind of hero worshiping his father. He felt inexperienced to me. And maybe that was a part of trying to figure out, okay, Claudius is become the king and not him. That and just how rash he seems to be. He's shivving poor Polonius behind the curtain. He's being really selfish to Ophelia. He's sending Rosencrantz and Guildenstern off, and with a note that says "kill the bearers of this note." It's like he comes across as like really young, but as Jason pointed out in his comment, that actually, because of the gravedigger speech, he's probably 30. And it's like, really, because it kind of puts him at about double the age I thought he was. And it's like a young Hamlet and his actions reads really differently than a full-grown fucking man of 30 in these actions, and who doesn't seem to have much of an identity of himself, who seems to be so subsumed in his father, really changes the play to me. It's understandable of a young Prince Hamlet versus a 30 years old is like, you're a full-grown fucking man. What the fuck are you doing in this play? Yes, maybe you might do revenge, but it would be a lot more considered. And why are you not the king? Why do you not end up the king from after this assassination? Or why isn't there like being much more considered? And yeah, it seems very odd. It was very odd to me. That really blew my mind. So I really thank Jason for that little bit of information. I mean, I looked up some stuff, and there does seem to be varying theories, but I mean, you look at the text of the play, it's like, yeah, he should be 30. It's like, really? Now here I was just assuming that there was a lot of older actors who just was like, screw that. I'm going to go and do this play. Yeah. Well, I guess it's one of those things that's interesting. You read something, and maybe I was projecting my own father issues of being 17 onto this play. So, yeah, that was quite interesting. I'm going to have to, my next reading of Hamlet will be interesting that way. It's funny that, because I mean, I've seen I know of Branagh doing it, I know of Olivier doing it, and there's all these older actors, but for some reason reading at this time, it's like, no, this Hamlet is a young guy. He's a young dude. 16, 17, or feels like college age, someone who hadn't quite broken off from his father yet. But it's like, no, he's an older guy who's perhaps dominated by his father. Like, if you're an older guy who's like that dominated by your father, I don't know, and maybe I'm assuming stuff about being dominated, but it's like, it's interesting. So that was just a really interesting little add-on. Thank you very much, Jason, for that, because that's a really cool thing about even at a distance, reading a play at the same time as somebody else is just like, that really kind of rejigs Hamlet for me. Um, yeah, yeah. It's someone who reads very young to me, at least. And there's just that difference of being, oh, well, yeah, of course he's a young guy. Of course he's going to do all this stuff too. Like, no, he's a fucking full-grown male. I don't know why isn't married and settled down with kids and a lot more freaking stable than this kind of like wild man guy who's fucking around in this play. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you, Jason. All right. More videos later.